Hey everybody, Tony D and Little Joan here with your Hollywoke hot take. All things Hollywood, all things Hollywoke. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Please check out my books. Links in the description. We've got Wokistan, a novel. Hollywoke, another novel. That's political satire in the movie industry. Also, the Pineys books 1 through 6. Book 7 coming out this summer. Comedy horror in South Jersey. It's all at Amazon.com. You could do the ebooks. You could do Kindle Unlimited for free. If you have Amazon Prime, you have Kindle Unlimited. I think I'm going to put this one on YouTube, so make sure you check out Bitchute and Rumble for the other 2 videos. Right, Joan? Because we do 4 a day. 4 a day. All right, let's get into it. John Cusack says, American politics is awful. We have no leaders. Well, I kind of find it odd that you push so hard for Joe Biden then, John. I really do. He's 54? Wow, you look good for 54, John. I'll give you that. I mean, you're only 1 year younger than me. Listen to this quote. I was at a ballpark last night, and they did their support the troops ad that conflate Boeing with troops serving while supporting the GOP. That means funding the insurrection, anti-democratic forces, the opposite of what they claim to support, U.S. freedom. What? Dude, your brain has broken. I used to think you were such a smart guy. I used to think... John Cusack claims Trump supporters voted for mentally ill virus spreading bad guy from Germany in angry tweet. I mean, come on, man. You are just reading. Here's a guy who did the movie Bob Roberts, if you've ever seen it, right? And there's a scene in it, it's his main scene, because he's not the main character in the movie, where he goes on and on about the corporate media and how the military-industrial complex and the media is a part of that complex. And when I saw that, I thought, oh, well, here's a guy who gets it, right? Here's a guy who understands that the anti-war movement is the important movement. This is, or should be, at the heart of being liberal, liberalism, which at the time I was a liberal. And man, you hear him talk, and it's like, are you a brainwashed zombie, dude? Do you forget the way it was 20, 30 years ago? Either you've forgotten that those entities that you're clearly relying on here are completely unreliable, or you never cared what they really had to say. You only cared when they didn't agree with your message. Now that they agree with your message, oh, that's fine then. And that makes you a way bigger hypocrite than most of these guys, because you pretended to be on the side of the angels. You pretended to be anti-war. You pretended to wanted to have people not bombed and blown to pieces in the Middle East. But you had a president in Donald Trump who made strides. And look, you didn't have to agree with everything Donald Trump says. I certainly don't. But there's no denying that the guy made real strides for world peace. That's what he wanted. And he could envision a world in which we do business with the world, because he was a businessman. Now, you may not agree with every little thing he agrees, and I certainly had criticisms of him. But man, to see you support Biden and call Trump the orange bad guy from Germany, I can't even say that. And where's your outrage about the censorship, John? I mean, all the money and all the time you've spent being an activist, what was it all for? It was for the Democrats. You're not an activist. You're just like every other celebrity in Hollywood. You know what side your bread is buttered on, and you make sure you support the Democrats. However you do it. You just do it smarter than other people. Right? You obfuscate. So, yeah, I'm not a Dem. I'm not a partisan Democrat. I'm just doing the smart thing. But you're not anymore. The mask is off. I mean, here he is at a ballpark, okay, First off, it's not cheap to go to a baseball game anymore. But okay, you're at a ballpark. And they did their support the troops ad that conflate Boeing with troops serving. Now, I don't know what ad you saw, but if it was a commercial for Boeing, that's Boeing's commercial. Okay? That's the stadium showing that commercial on the big giant TV screen or whatever. And where's the support for the GOP in that ad? I don't really get that. And that means funding the insurrection. So now you've just drawn a line here. You're like, well, no, everybody in the GOP is an insurrectionist that wants to overthrow the country. How about the Antifa guys who openly promote that? Who openly say, no Trump, no wall, no USA at all? Where is your opinion on that? I don't see it. I don't see it. What I see here is an actor who skims the top of the news and then pretends to be an intellectual. And I can't express in words how disappointed I am in you. But, it's par for the course these days. Everything's being undermined. And you're just going down with the ship, dude. You could break free. You could be, and again, I look at Jimmy Dore. I've been watching Jimmy Dore recently because of the great drama between him and the Young Turks, which you should totally tune into, by the way. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing watching Jimmy take down the Young Turks, who are, they're AstroTurf liberals, essentially. And to see now, after all these years, that John Cusack's really one of them. I mean, John, go on the Young Turks. They're just your bag, man. They'll say whatever you want. They'll complain however you like. Your money in the bank, dude. They preach freedom at baseball games, but back insurrectionist coups overturning the elections. Well, see, you said supporting the GOP, that means funding the insurrection. Do you understand that what you've just stated is insane? Number one, it's not true. But beyond that, it's highly illegal. But you support the Democrats. Bill Clinton pardoned a woman who bombed the Capitol when he left office, which I'm sure you would express dismay over. But, we have no leaders. And yet, the only side I see you criticizing here, so far, is the GOP. No, we have no leaders because we have too many people in this country who don't do enough research. And I'm one of them. First off, I'm not a drill down guy like a lot of these guys who makes videos. I just don't have the time. I'm writing other things. I would have to spend hours researching to make my videos if I really wanted to make them right. I'm just a commentary guy and an older guy who can make these comments. But the one thing I've been pretty good at identifying over the years, because being a libertarian, I'm very contrarian, is the enemy. Because I'm extremely wary of everything. I was extremely wary when the Twin Towers collapsed and people immediately came out and said, well, it's Iraq. I was like, Iraq? Slow down. I was just like, I didn't have the answer, but that I knew didn't sound right. I'm like, Iraq? What planet are you living on? How is Iraq going to do what, that happened there? Talking about Boeing like you're going to do anything about it. It's pathetic, John. It's pathetic. You work for these major corporations. Okay? Don't pretend like your millions of dollars aren't the result of these vast media companies who are giving you wrong information, if you in fact believe any of this. Maybe you're just a cynical guy just playing your side of the fence as smart as possible, but I doubt it. I kind of think you've just either bought into it, maybe it's a combination. You bought into it and you've been misled. Um, let's call the USA what it is, decadent on the fast track to autocracy, living in the atavistic fumes of WW2 Greatest Generation Heaver? Actually took on fascism and beat it down. We can't even arrest open criminals in the GOP, nor mentally ill white supremacist lawless thug. Wow. How about we can't even arrest people who burn down cities, who loot? We aren't great. We aren't even media-core. We're effing awful, full of cowards and corporate whores. Boeing gets to take out tax dollars, parade our soldiers, wrap themselves in the flag while financially backing fascists. We have no leaders, no soul, just greed. Yeah, says the guy with millions of dollars. What are you doing with your millions of dollars? Are you taking it to another country? Are you moving to Canada? Are you moving to Mexico? Are you moving to, there's a lot of countries in the world. There's almost 200 countries in the world. I don't see you moving out of here. I mean, you have the millions of dollars. I hear things through the grapevine, and one of the great things I heard was Bruce Willis took his entire high school graduating class. They had like a reunion, and he took them all to I forget what it was, the Bahamas or something like that. Like, he paid for it all because he's just that insanely rich, right? He took everybody down to the casinos, and he was dropping like $1,000. Like, his friends were gambling. He'd just throw like $1,000 on top of whatever they were playing. I mean, doesn't that sound like fun? That's a cool way to blow your money. I mean, he's got more money than he could ever spend, right? Like, what's John Cusack doing other than stacking it, right? Other than sitting on Twitter all day and whining. John Cusack suggests he's done talking to friends, family who aren't aggressively anti-Trump. Well, that's just weird, dude. That's just like mentally ill. It's just mentally ill. Where's that from? Oh, that's from last year when things were going on. I should have known. Fox. But yeah, look. Get a grip, dude. Get a grip. I realize you're my age, but I'm your age, and I figured out the news isn't giving me good information anymore. And I get it. It was a system. I've talked about the system of the media before and how we watched TV and consumed it. That's dead, man. Nobody watches TV. You can't turn on CNN and expect any good information. None. Zero. New York Times, over. Oh, it's been over. Newspapers, TV, throw them away, cancel your subscriptions. You're wasting your time and your brain energy. And if you can't do that, then there's no point in talking to you because you're living in a delusion. And one day it's going to come all crashing down around you. I don't know what these people are going to do. Amazing new website confirms YouTube is suppressing dislikes on Joe Biden videos by as much as 600%. I went to the site. I can't figure out how they're doing it. I don't know if it's fake or what, but they also analyze a few other sites, including PewDiePie's. I mean, I just assume they're suppressing the dislikes on Joe Biden. I mean, I've heard other people talk about it and know, they went to the White House page and they saw the likes go down. So what? I mean, I totally believe it, but who the hell is watching the White House page or Ted Cruz's page or whatever? No one's watching this stuff. It's because it's boring. It's boring. The only people who watch this kind of stuff are news junkies like me, who are doing videos about it, or other actual journalists or whatever. I mean, it's literally that low. The numbers are that low. I mean, you're talking a couple of hundred people. That's it. A few thousand maybe. And some of them are just clicking on it by accident because of YouTube's algorithm shoving it in your face. If you let your video play out and you don't have I have a filter on mine, keeps the mainstream stuff mostly out, but I may be subscribed to the White House feed. I'm subscribed to the one on Bitchute because I think that one probably gives you more accurate, downvote, upvote ratio. But, it's, of course they're suppressing it. YouTube is YouTube. I mean, in my view, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, they're all a bunch of liars. They run a computer related business. There are no laws saying that they can't completely make up the numbers. I was just talking to a friend about Rotten Tomatoes. I don't believe anything on that site anymore. Zero. There's not a single review, number, statistic worth looking at Rotten Tomatoes. If only to like go there again to make fun of it, to make fun of the ratio as the studio tries to game the system as much as they can. They might as well just lie right out at this point. I mean, I wouldn't use it as a gauge to see any movie ever. And I abandoned Rotten Tomatoes even before it was bought, I believe. And I always mention Drag Me to Hell. God, I couldn't believe it got 95. And now this breaks my heart. Scarlett Johansson criticizes Black Widow's hypersexualization in Iron Man 2. Oh no, is your millions of dollars chafing you in some way? Look, ScarJo, you're beautiful. And that's why we like to see you. And you were great in Black Widow. And I think you were robbed for not getting a Black Widow movie. I really do. But it's not just your looks. You had the moves. You were turning into an action star. And, you got screwed on that Ghost in a Shell movie. You really did. But this isn't, going woke is not going to help you. It's not going to help you. You should be making the transition into serious actress at this point. Because, you're only going to be able to play the sex pot for so much longer. I mean, it's just not going to work out. After a while, you're going to have to go the Sigourney Weaver route. Sigourney always looks great, but she's also considered an action star, a really good actress, an all-around, great person to have in a movie. And that can be your role too, but not this. Don't give us like, I don't like to be hypersexualized. Bull. You've been doing hypersexualized images of yourself for literally decades, for as long as you've been in the business. For as long as you've been an adult, I'll say. Not as long as you've been in the business, obviously. And don't pretend like you're not involved. Oh, I had to do that. No, you did that. You didn't have to dress this way. I mean, first off, that's the character. And she's a spy, and the fact that she's super hot and uses it in her spy craft, she did that you did that in the movie, the first movie with Black Widow. You're tied to a chair, you're being interviewed by a bunch of thugs, and they call you up, and it's like, I'm working here. Like, you don't even consider, Black Widow didn't even consider those guys an impediment. It's a great scene. And you should embrace your skills. And one of your skill set is you ooze sexuality. It's why you got to play, what's her face? Not Marilyn Monroe, the other one who died. I can't think of her. I always forget her name. Jane something. The one who got decapitated. You know who I'm talking about. The famous sex pot. Alfred Hitchcock used her in a movie. And so you played her in the movie about Alfred Hitchcock across from Anthony Hopkins. You are a movie star. You've got the looks. You've got the talent. I mean, you're not the greatest actress in the world, but you're pretty decent, I think. This is beneath you. You shouldn't be doing this. I'm such a fan, and it's really disheartening to see this, But I can always find another hot chick to watch in a movie, ScarJo, so whatever. Macy Gray says it's time for a new American flag that represents all of us in Juneteenth op-ed. I don't know who this is. Continuing, Marvel star Anthony Mackie. America keeps black men from seeing their potential. Wow. That is another disappointing comment. Another actor I'm a big fan of, and that after hearing that, I gotta start to go, well, maybe I'm not such a big fan anymore. Maybe I gotta say, nah, I'll pass. I'll pass on your movies. It's the old saying, don't see movies or don't give your money to people who hate you. I live in America, Anthony Mackie. I'm pretty sure I did nothing but support you up until this point. So it's disappointing that you would say something like this, especially in the role of Captain America. You think it's cool to be Captain America and diss America, like the guy who writes it, but it's not. It's not. It's sad. But I don't have to give you money. Nope. I don't have to see your movies. I don't have to talk about your movies. I can see your trailer and go, oh, Anthony Mackie's in it? Nah, I'll find another trailer. I'm perfectly happy looking at trailers from unknown actors. And I don't have a lot of fans or whatever, but I got enough. I'll turn them to some other movie if that's the attitude you want to take. And when your career starts to go, wee, and you're like, oh, no, wait, I like America. Good luck getting us back. Society of Tolkien launches counter-program in response to Tolkien Society's Tolkien and Diversity. Now, I don't know if you heard this story. This was probably one of the most hilarious stories in a while, and I didn't go through it. I could have done a whole video about it, but everyone else has already done one. Jeremy of the Quartering, the Lotus Eaters talked about it, but it's a hilarious geek fest dedicated to Tolkien, but it's woke, right? So you can imagine like it was all these crazy titles for all their panels that they have at these. When you go to a comic book convention or a fantasy convention like this, there'll be panel discussions, right? So that's why you go. You go and you go from room to room. You go like, oh, they're going to talk about this subject or that particular project, whatever you want to see. Maybe you meet an author or a star or whatever. I've participated in a bunch of them over the years. But this one was like super woke. So I guess this one is the reverse. They explain what exactly the seminar would focus on in a call for papers asking how do adaptations of Tolkien works from film to art and art to music open a discourse on diversity with Tolkien's works and place him with our modern society. They further stated beyond his secondary world, diversity further encompasses Tolkien's readership and how his texts exist within the primary world. This has been, unfortunately, part of the problem with Dungeons and Dragons too. The wokeness is trying to. Oh, here it is. Here's some of the topics for the papers: representation in Tolkien's works, race, gender, sexuality, disability, class, religion, age, etc. Tolkien's approach to colonialism and post-colonialism, adaptations of Tolkien's works, diversity and representation in Tolkien academia and readership, identity within Tolkien's works, alternity in Tolkien's works, whatever that is. Oh, and here's the specific ones. Gondor in Transition, a brief introduction to transgender realities in The Lord of the Rings. I mean, this is like fanfic for gay fans, right? Gay and trans fans. I mean, this is your fanfic. I find it absolutely worthless fan fiction. There's nothing I want to ever see in fan fiction. I don't care how good it is you claim. I think fan fiction is a complete waste of time, except for kids. Like if you're a kid and you don't I mean, I did fan fiction as a kid, but once I got to the point where, oh, okay, this is how writing works and creating things works, and I can't just write somebody else's characters. Oh, okay. Once I understood that, I never went back to fan fiction again, unless you count my work on The Simpsons, but I was paid for that. So this is all, I mean, something mighty queer, destabilizing cis hetero, a matronormativity in the works of Tolkien. I mean, it's just nuts. It's all part of the woke seminar. Tolkien Society Summer Seminar. So I guess there's a counter program. Yeah, and this is just like normal panels. Good for you, countering the program. It's not even I wouldn't even call it anti-woke. It's just normal talk about Tolkien. These people are just so obsessed with race and gender and wokeness and diversity, they'll find it in anything. It's why they've ruined Dungeons and Dragons too. Like, these are the same people who tried to make a connection between orcs and African Americans. Like, anyone ever looked at that and said, oh yeah, that makes sense? No, it's stupid. And look, I worked on a game which it combined like philosophy and Dungeons and Dragons, and the idea was to try to create ethical conundrums that the players would discuss. And it was tough. And we did stuff like, well, if you fight the orcs and then you kill all the adults, what do you do with the children? Because in that fantasy world, the children just grow up and become evil raiders that kill humans and eat them. But that's not the same thing as this. This is trying to insert every woke, nonsensical point into essentially Dungeons and Dragons or Lord of the Rings, which is kind of Dungeons and Dragons if you've ever played the game. It's stupid. It's woke-tarded. It's a new level of woke-tardation. Everyone who participates in this seminar, what I'd like to believe is it's not really a seminar, that they go there to participate, and then they're all brought into a room where they get to each meet with a therapist who discusses, who basically sits them down individually and says, oh, what's wrong, hon? What's really wrong with you? Are you okay? And then they, could talk to a therapist and really work out their issues rather than... I think that's maybe what it is. I think that's what a good percentage of the wokeness is. Now, there are some, they they have their issues and, they're gay or bi or they're struggling or whatever. But I think there's a lot of people in that mix, especially right now, that are just in it. They're just in the woke world because it's the only way to be popular, the only way to have acceptance, the only way to have power. And I think that group needs to be taken aside and given therapy. I think they're mentally ill. I think they're so desperate. I think their lives are so empty and devoid of purpose and meaning that they create their own meaning using wokeness. And this is what you get. I mean, you got to see this list. This is Bounding into Comics, by the way, which, by the way, has some great articles on. I don't know why I haven't been using this. I used them a few times before, but I'm going to make a special trip when I do Hollywoke hot take every time to Bounding into Comics. It's really, really great coverage. Bill Maher rips Lin-Manuel Miranda for his apology to the woke mob. This is why people hate Democrats. Boom. Based Bill Maher. Bill Maher may be the guy to lead the Democrats back to the promised land, or at least the ones who are kind of semi-normal, haven't completely bought into wokeism yet. I hope you do, Bill. Godspeed. Godspeed. You could talk some sanity into these people, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Miss Opal Lee and Pharrell Williams discuss their fight for Juneteenth. There is history, and there is the soldier. The reason I mention this is because it's in Variety. And it's like, this is Variety. Like, it's supposed to be about the industry, but it always falls back into politics the moment something crazy and woke happens. And Juneteenth is really a woke holiday. Again, I totally support more federal holidays. I don't care. Have a whole week. The problem is nobody else will get a day off other than the government employees, and the banks will be closed, and the post office will be closed, and But I did see on Gab Trends there was a headline that Biden's going to push some of the companies to close too. Won't that be ironic? You finally get a day off, a paid day off from your company, and it's this new crazy holiday, Juneteenth, which is, it's today, by the way. So, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be taking a day off? You shouldn't be watching me at work. Singer alleges Chrissy Teigen assaulted her at the Grammys. She's just a mean-spirited human. Man, they won't let up on this Teigen girl. I don't know. I barely know who she is. She's married or dates John Legend, right? I don't know. It's like, who cares? Just let her drop off the face of the earth this time, and how many more? It's just going to be a pile on now. It's like when Ellen, they finally figured out that Ellen was an a-hole. They just won't stop talking about her. And a Deadline. Again, this is like Variety, and this is the headline. Stacey Abrams hints at political office, defends compromise on voting rights bill, says Juneteenth about Says Juneteenth about fighting for justice every single day. Tribeca Festival. Oh, this must be. Did they do a movie about her or something? Yeah, I don't know. She is, in my view, she is a complete and utter political grifter, Stacey Abrams. She'll end up on MSNBC one day, just because that's where the money is. I don't think she'll ever get into office for anything, but who knows? It's weird. The Democrats won't stop propping her up. And she'll be one of the Dems that goes down with the ship when the Democratic Party finally breaks. Hopefully this year coming up, 2022, that could be the year the Democrats finally break themselves in half. And then we won't have to hear from her ever again. And finally, Golden Globes in tatters as two, and now it's in tatters? I think it's been in tatters before, but okay. As two HFPA members resign over corruption and verbal abuse. Can you imagine? Like, they use those words like the Golden Globes is some sort of government entity. It is a stupid award show that no one even cared about until Ricky Gervais hosted it. You people deserve everything that's happening to you. I hope the Golden Globes go off the air and I never see them again. I mean, who freaking cares? You're two members of the listen to this headline. This is just amazing. Two members of the media groups behind the Golden Globes, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, have resigned, saying the organization is a toxic place with a culture one insulation, silence, fear, or of retribution, self-dealing, corruption, and verbal abuse. What did you think it was? Okay, this is a Hollywood organization. An organization of press people who cover Hollywood. You think these guys, what do you think, they're saints? Oh no, it's a toxic place of insulation, silence, fear of retribution, or self-dealing. Of course it's self-dealing. Why wouldn't it be self-dealing? Okay? It's not a place of gumdrops and rainbows. These people are trying to get a story or trying to get, famous or whatever. Corruption and verbal abuse? Has it ever not been corrupt? Was it perfectly not corrupt when they formed it? I doubt it. I'm pretty sure the studios poured money into organizations like this so they could get certain movies and certain TV shows nominated, certain celebrities nominated. I'm sure the agents bribed people. Oh, they're not bribes, though. It's perfectly legal. I mean, this isn't a political organization. It's not a government organization. It's just a freaking award show. You can bribe people all day long. It's not illegal, as far as I know, right? How could it be illegal? It's a private organization. This is how self-important these people think they are. Close it down then. Close it down. Close it all down. Hollywood's going away. And I could not be happier. The entire place, from top to bottom, is corrupt by this definition, I guess, because it's full of narcissists who pump themselves up and make millions and millions and millions of dollars. It's what it's always been. The difference is now there's more money involved. Now it's an insane amount of money. 50 years ago, it was good money, but it wasn't insane money. But over the years, it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. And no one can put these people in check is part of the problem. The only thing that kept Hollywood in check was the money. That's it. It's the only thing that kept people in check. Like, ooh, is my money going away? All right, I better get myself in line here. But for most of the run of Hollywood, it's been pro-America. Now that it's anti-America, you lost your audience. Half your audience in America has checked out. They're completely done with you. You're going to be begging. I mean, you're going to have 10 guys standing, led by Chris Pratt. Because they're the last Americans actually working in Hollywood who aren't actively scolding America. I mean, look at Anthony Mackie. He feels the need to come out in an interview. Yeah, America keeps black men down. Okay. I don't have to watch your movies, Anthony Mackie. I've supported you all this time. And now you slap me in the face with that statement. The Trump supporters will never support you with that kind of attitude. No one will. And the people who you are saying, hey, I'm like you, I'm against America, they're not going to support you either. Because they don't support anything. They don't have any money. They don't go to movies. They don't go to anything. They hate capitalism. They want to destroy the entire country. I know you idiot celebrities don't want to do that, because then you wouldn't have your mansions and your yachts and your, 2,000 plate dollar dinners. You wouldn't have that. All that will go away. Do you want that to happen, you morons? I know you don't think it could happen. I know you're so isolated, John Cusack, that you don't think it can impact you, but it is. I missed one story. Oh no, I didn't click on it, but I should have covered it. Gavin Newsom apparently was attacked by a homeless guy in LA. Now, if Gavin Newsom could be attacked on the streets in LA, what do you think your chances are of being attacked in the street in LA? Now, yeah, what are your chances of these Antifa woke-tards suddenly getting in the idea of going up in the hills and burning it to the ground? That's going to happen one day. When these people, I mean, look at San Francisco. People are pooping all over the streets. No one can afford to live there anymore. When it gets to that level in LA, kiss it all goodbye. Because it's going to be you, the studio, and people who work for you. And that'll be it. There won't be a Del Taco anywhere. Because that'll all be closed. Everything will have to close. And eventually, your mansion in the hills, there'll be nothing else left. They'll be coming for you. And I know you hate guns, so you're not going to have any way to defend yourself. So good luck. Good luck, LA. And woke tards, celebrities who live there. Your days are numbered. I say turn the boat around. Join Chris Pratt and the normal people in just not hating things.